Watch this.
When she walked out, she said she loves her son. She wants to see her son. But in this video, which we want to warn you, it is heartbreaking and tough to watch. You don't hear her say anything. All you see is this mother kicking and pushing her son, who is unable to defend himself.
That is hard to watch. And I'm not a clinician. I'm not here to diagnose this narcissistic behavior that this woman displays or talk about her mental health issues or her instability or anything like that. I want to replay it again because I want you to catch on to what this news anchor says in the very beginning, because this is what we are about to talk about. Watch again.
When she walked out, she said she loves her son. She wants to see her son. But in this video, which we want to warn you, it is heartbreaking and tough to watch. You don't hear...
I don't need to play the rest of that again because you already know what happens. But did you grab onto that word love? Love. What is love? Now, in this story that we just saw that took place, this woman said that she loved her son and then goes on to do what happened. Now, the sad reality is this son risks growing up in this world, having a conflicted understanding of love. On one hand, love is this good thing that we're supposed to want and desire, but on the other hand, it comes with being beaten and pushed and kicked and shoved and thrown around. Now, how many of you have experienced this in your life, in your own families, or maybe in a marriage or with a romantic partner or friends that have told you that they love you, yet on the other hand, you're also beaten, kicked, pushed, demeaned, devalued, neglected, rejected, on and on and on and on again. This is what creates cognitive dissonance, and it risks putting you frozen in a place of cognitive dissonance for God only knows how long. Cognitive dissonance is where you hang on to two very conflicting, opposing views. On one hand, you believe that this love is a good thing, and so you're hanging on to that concept, that principle. But on the other hand, you're being met with the reality of violence and hatred and rage, anything but love. And you're trying desperately to see how they fit together, but they don't. And so you're frozen and you're stuck. And many of you stay in toxic relationships because you're frozen and stuck and hung on this word love. In this message, we are going to break this down because love is not what you think. Let's get into this. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before I do continue with this deep message on love and how this meaningless word has you stuck, I want to let you know I'm here to support you. Down in the description box, you'll find the link to schedule one-on-one time with me. So head on down to the description box, find the link that says schedule your one-on-one time with me, and schedule it. And I look forward to talking with you, especially those of you who are hung up on this concept of love, although you are being met with abuse. How many of you are stuck in a place of cognitive dissonance right now? Now, it's not a good place to be in until you realize that the word love that you and I have been using in the Western world is really just a meaningless word. And this is what we have to be careful for. Now, I know a lot of you right now are saying, Kevin, listen, this isn't fair because somebody can love you and make mistakes. Listen, we're not here talking about the every now and then snap. You had a bad day and you say something maybe a little rude, something derogatory, but then you go back and then make up for that, apologize for that, own up to that. We're not talking about that as a part of love. We're talking about a repetitive, habitual pattern of mean devaluation, narcissistic tendencies and behaviors, and just destroying things, also being called love. Now, a lot of times people say that narcissism is the most overused word, but I'm going to argue for the case, or for the purpose of this video, I'm going to say love is the most overused word in society. And love being the most overused word may also be the most meaningless word. Now, not long ago, I broke no contact, or I was in contact with a narcissistic sibling from my past. And the reason is because this person had shown up and was making indications of care and consideration and love. And I actually pushed back against this person. And I said, stop saying that. You don't love me. You don't have love. And when you say this, you are devaluing, you're stripping away any value from the word love. This particular individual pushed back again, which is, narcissists like to do that. They go back and forth, right? And said, you don't know my heart. You don't know what's inside my heart. I pushed back again. And I said, you're right, I don't. I don't care what's in your heart. All I care is what you show me, because I can't see what's in a person's heart. Neither can you. None of us can. How many of you are sick and tired of people who are mean and nasty saying, oh, but you can't see my heart. I do love you. At some point, you just have to build up the courage and the cojones to say, I don't care what's in your heart because I can't see it. All I care about is what you show me. And I challenged this person and said, in what ways have you shown me any love? What is this love you're talking about? I don't understand it. I hear it when you say, I love you, but I have nothing to connect it with. And now many of you have been in this exact same place, but stuck in cognitive dissonance, and I've come out the other side of it. I've come out the other side of that cognitive dissonance where I now no longer pay any attention to the word love. When somebody says the word love, I take it for what it is, a meaningless word, especially in today's modern Western world society. It's something that narcissists can use. The devil can use the word love and say, I love you. And the reason that we need to make this message and get this out is to help you to no longer be attracted to the word, the concept, the idea, which is just a word of love, and instead get to a place where you're watching, observing, and judging and discerning the behaviors of anybody in your life, whether it's family members or a marriage partner or a lover. Watch and observe and judge them to determine the love, if there is such a thing, that they have for you. One of the things that I believe will help us all out is to understand this. The word love, which is a modern Western world word that's used and has been exploited by narcissistic people throughout the history of the word being used. As a matter of fact, I would say that it probably was made by narcissists so that they can have a word that can combat their behavior. In other words, they want to treat you mean and cold and nasty and neglectful and whatever. But by coming up with this word and saying, oh, but I love you, that should make it all better. I've talked about this before, but I want to introduce you into, for those of you who haven't known about this, to a more ancient understanding of love, which I believe is really going to clear a lot of things up for you. It has for me. It changes the way I view things. And that's to say that in the ancient world, they didn't have the word love. The word L-O-V-E or L-U-V or however you all want to spell it didn't exist. Again, it's a modern Western world word. See, in the ancient world, they had this understanding that is, again, really helpful for all of us. They understood that people connected in different ways, in very specific ways, and they compartmentalized them instead of just saying, oh, I love you, love people, right? They compartmentalized their connections with people. For example, if you look over here, that way, look over here, right? Number one, agape. These are Greek words, by the way, but this is how in the ancient world, people understood connections with others. Get rid of the word love, and let's look at agape. Agape, for number one, is, and there's 7 of these, by the way. I encourage you to look them all up. I'm not going to go into too much detail about them. You can look them up, but I'm going to get the conversation started here. Agape is the actual word used in the biblical text. This is the love that God had for people. This is the word that was used that expressed Jesus and his actions towards others. Agape. It's not the same thing as love that you and I talk about. Agape is a very specific thing. It's known as a universal love. Pretty basically put, it's doing the right thing at the right time. You see somebody hurt, you pick them up. You see somebody in trouble, call 911. You see someone dying of thirst, you give them a drink of water. This is agape. That's all it is. Once you understand exactly what agape is, which is the only way in which Jesus loved people, you'll suddenly realize how it's possible to love your enemies, agape your enemies, which basically means do the right thing at the right moment. The problem is that in modern Western world, especially in Christianity, which has twisted agape into this emotional word love, sensationalized it to the point that everybody in the congregations at the churches are crying all over each other, holding on to each other, tears in their face. Oh, I feel so much love right now. And it's not even the type of love that was mentioned in the Bible. Modern Western world church has sensationalized and twisted agape and turned it into some emotional love that it was never intended to be. And this is why many of you who are believers are stuck in abusive relationships, because you believe you're showing the love of Jesus by staying in it. You're not. You're an emotional mess being abused, who has taken, because your church has told you, the word agape and tried to turn it into something else, right? Moving on, eros. Now, I promise you, I'm only going to talk about a few of these, but I'm going to connect them in a way that's going to really give you an aha moment, right? Eros is another one. Eros is strictly a word of desire. Having eros for somebody means that you just desire them sexually. They get you hot and bothered. You just want to be around them, right? Now, we know that this exists. This is why strip clubs are a thing. This is why, prostitution is a thing, because people can connect. This is why one-night stands are a thing or whatever. People can connect in this physical way because they're attracted to somebody physically. Now, if you notice something, agape and eros are two compartmentalized things. In the ancient world, they understood that one can exist without the other. We know this is true, right? Philia, down below, agape, which is friendship. It's friends. That's what philia is. It's a certain type of connection that represents a friendship. Next to that, you've got storge, which is family. It's a type of love, storge, that only exists in family. Again, it's highly compartmentalized, and it comes with its own set of boundaries and its own set of understanding, just like philia. And once again, look, they're separate. Philia and storge are different. They compartmentalized the relationship with their siblings from the relationship with their friends, something that we don't do anymore. Because we bought into this word love, it's all enmeshed. And our family members are our friends, and our friends are our family, and blah, 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 blah. Because of love. We try to love them all in the same way. And watch this. Down below, there's pragma. Pragma is commitment, represented by the wedding bands. Many people don't understand this about marriage, but marriage is oftentimes a commitment. You're committing to somebody. You're committing to responsibility in a relationship. That's what putting on those wedding bands means. I commit. Before God and before people, I commit. But now watch this. Guess what? It's compartmentalized. And I'm not saying this is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not judging, but you can have pragma. And since it's its own type of connection, guess what also can exist? Eros, right? Happens all the time. In marriages, people in marriage, because of pragma, commitment, responsibility, yet happen to have eros somewhere else. Do you see how in the ancient world they had a healthier understanding that human beings connect in various ways, and they didn't try to enmesh it all together under one word, love, which is what we're doing. Now, I encourage you to do more research on the ancient world and the understanding of love and how the love that you and I talk about didn't even exist. And right now, our ancient ancestors would probably be shaking their heads at our understanding of this concept and this principle of love, and how we allow this word, we buy into this word as an idea, as a principle, as a concept, and we cause this word to allow us to stay in abusive relationships. Because maybe we experience eros with somebody we're not meant to be with, except for a moment of time, but then we try to make a commitment out of it, which ends up backfiring. Or we try to make our family storge, and we try to make friends out of them, philia, which you can't, because they're meant to be different, compartmentalized relationships, treated differently. And how many of you know, when you try to make your family members and your brothers and sisters or whatever, your mom, your dad, your friends, all hell can break loose. This isn't the case for everybody. I know that Andrew Tate out there, his best friend is his brother, and that's fine, fair enough. A lot of people, there's people out there that their family members are their best friends, and if that's you, congratulations. But it's not the majority. There's also a lot of families out there that are like Cain and Abel. And everybody knows the story of Cain and Abel, right? One was a murderer and one was a servant. How are those two supposed to be friends? They couldn't, right? We need to change the way we view love so that you can break the cognitive dissonance. You're not crazy. You know that the people you're dealing with don't love you, even though they say it. Now watch this. Love is only a word. That's all it is. It's a word that narcissistic people, it's a word that the devil can exploit and use to grab onto you, to hold on to you. But what I'm here to propose and what I'm here to suggest for the Royal We community is that more than words is all you really need. We need to stop paying attention to this word love. I challenge us to even stop using it. I no longer use it. What for? If I can't show somebody my thoughts and how I feel towards them and how much I care and how much I concern about them, then why would I say something? Why would I say it? It doesn't make sense. And I challenge each and every one of you to perhaps start thinking in the same way. Why use a word with something that you cannot show? More importantly, why accept a word from somebody else that means something that they can't show? One of the most beneficial things that I believe we can do is to stop paying attention to the words. Stop paying attention to the word love. Pretend it doesn't exist. It's a meaningless thing. And instead, learn to watch and believe your eyes. Don't believe in a word. Don't believe it when somebody says, I love you. Believe what your eyes are seeing. Believe what your ears are hearing. Not the word love, though. I'm talking about everything else they say. Believe what you're experiencing when you're around them. If they're pushing you, shoving you, demeaning you, devaluing you, stomping all over you, being inconsiderate, and it's habitual, then that's all you need to know. More than words is all you need to know to make a decision, to start to improve your own life, to position yourself in a place where you can be supported, encouraged, and can grow. As I said before, I am here to support you. Down in the description box below this video, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. So head on down there. Those of you struggling, maybe in cognitive dissonance right now over this concept of love, I would love to talk with you. So head on down there, schedule some time with me, and I'll be back with more videos for you right here on the Royal We. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and check out one of these other videos, and I'll be back right here on the Royal We.